The module importer is a powerful plugin with a suite of various tools such as the Multiplay component for multiplay syncing, product for easy monetization and currency management in your world, and other helpful tools to help speed up your development process and make your life a lot easier. Before diving into this section, it's recommended that you take a look through the plugin installation, Unity Basics, and TypeScript Basics videos before proceeding any further to ensure that you don't get lost throughout this video. When opening up the ZEPETO module's GitHub repository, you'll be greeted with the files for the repository's source code, as well as the installation guide showing you how to install the module into your project. Cloning the repository will get you the original source files, which may be necessary if you plan on creating your own modules and contributing to the importer, but if you just want to use the module importer, cloning won't be necessary. To install, click on the releases page where you currently see the latest version is v1.0.2. Scroll down until you see the Unity package file, and click on that to download it. Be sure to note the location of the downloaded file because we're going to be using this to import into our project. From a new ZEPETO Unity project, head into Assets, Import Package, and Custom Package and locate the file that we had just downloaded and import it into our project. When greeted with the import window, make sure to have everything selected and click Import to add all the files into our project. Depending on the speed of your machine, it may take a little bit of time, but if it's done, you should see the module importer folder in your project now. You can verify the installation by going into ZEPETO, Module Importer to bring up a window showing a list of all of the modules available to add to your project. Let's begin by taking a look at the Multiplay component. When first exploring any module, it's important to look through the documentation to ensure that you understand how it works. In the case of our Multiplay component, this will allow us to sync the positions, rotations, and scales of the objects in our world. This may be a newer concept to those exploring multiplayer for the first time, especially because you're not used to thinking about what should and shouldn't be synced for all the players in your world. And this component will take care of all of that complex coding that you normally have to do manually. Keep in mind that anything beyond simple transforms and rotations are not synced through this component, and things like events and player interactions will need to be more manually synced and will require additional study. To add a module to your project, click on the Import button at the top right corner of the Module Importer window, and when prompted with the list of assets to import, select everything and click Import. If the installation was successful, you should see a green dot next to the module name, and inside of the project view, you should see the folder as well as the relevant assets for that module. As you can see from this demo of the Multiplay Sync component, you can see that all of the positions and rotations of the objects in this scene are being properly synced between both my phone and the editor client. Again, anything beyond basic transforms and rotations is not synced or supported by this Multiplay component and will require a deeper level of understanding of client-server communications and multiplay scripting. If you'd like to do more independent study on client-server communication, please do visit our ZEPETO documentation on Multiplay or join our vast community of developers on Discord and ask questions there. The Interaction module, as the name suggests, will allow us to tie different gestures to interactable elements in our world, things such as park benches, roller coasters, or even photo ops, where users can pose together and take pictures in your world. Here, you can see a park bench that we set up to demo how the interaction component works. As we walk up to the bench, you can see that two buttons appear that will allow us to interact and take a seat. You can see that as we're sitting, we can switch between the two interactable spots that we've set up on this bench. With the Interaction module, you'll be able to define various positions and gestures for the interactable buttons in the world. When clicked, it will trigger the character to dock to the position and play the corresponding gesture that you've assigned to that button press. The Gesture module is another great tool to increase user engagement in your world. ZEPETO API comes packaged with a suite of gestures that you can use and play in your world. If you're familiar with games like Fortnite, you'll know how important these gestures can sometimes be to increasing user engagement. As you're seeing in this demo, this API is compatible in a multiplayer environment. You can see my phone on the bottom right corner of the screen syncing the gesture to the other players in real time. Though you might notice that the gesture is not necessarily perfectly in sync, but perfect gesture syncing is less important as long as the user gets the message. Continuing the theme of user engagement, the Screenshot API will allow the user to take a screenshot of the world in progress and let the user post that screenshot directly to their ZEPETO social feed, or share the screenshot to others outside of their application. You're looking at my phone screen here, and when I press the camera button, then the shutter button, you'll notice the UI switch to the screenshot that I had just taken from my current camera view. This UI then gives me the option to either save the image to my phone's gallery, share the photo to external apps, or post it to my ZEPETO feed. Next, we'll look at a module that will encourage competition between your players. The Leaderboard module comes packaged with the UI that will display the current player's score, the ranking in the leaderboard, and the other players on that leaderboard as well. Keep in mind that in order to properly demo this module, you will need to have your own leaderboard set up for your world ID. So please go through the ZEPETO documentation on leaderboards to find out how to set up leaderboards for your world. Let's demo the leaderboard for you really quick. When we click on the trophy to bring up the leaderboard UI, you'll see the current player's ranking, profile photo, name, and the score highlighted in purple at the top, as well as the score information of the other players in your world listed below it. The Mannequin module showcases the iconic ZEPETO fashion and allows users to purchase the items that you have for sale on your account. Note that when showcasing items on the Mannequin module, you'll need to first own the items that you're displaying, so please do make sure to submit some items of your own to the store before utilizing this module. There are 3 different types of mannequins you can utilize. Simple, which is just a trigger event area that will bring up the UI, probably used to trigger custom interactions to bring up the mannequin, such as a wardrobe. Model, where you can input specific item IDs to showcase. And finally, template, which will automatically load the items based on the clothes that defined character is wearing. In the case of this demo, we're showcasing the model type. After all the time and energy you spend developing a world, it's not unreasonable to want to monetize your world to earn money. The Products module will help us do just that. It utilizes our ZEPETO API to showcase all of its features and demo each part of the Products API. In order to properly demo this, you will need to hop onto the console and set up all of the products you saw in the guide. If the products aren't set up properly, the demo won't be able to find the products that it's set to look up for, and you may not be able to test this module. In this demo, we have the default ZEMs as our currency and 2 custom currencies, stars and energy. We can increase the XP, which will give us stars upon leveling up, press the buttons to increase and decrease our energy, and some items such as the item package will cost ZEMs to purchase, while others we can spend stars or energy as currency. All currency is managed and maintained by our ZEPETO servers and will always keep track of the transactions and the current amount of currency the user has. You'll see also that after purchasing some of these items, we can open up our bag and properly verify that all of the items that we're purchasing is being updated. It's often a good idea to accommodate users that are outside of your country. This is where the Localization module comes in handy. You can set up tables and define translations based on specific keys to grab sentences in the user's native language. In this demo, we can see the text applied to various UI elements such as text, fields, and buttons, each initially loaded in as English. However, when clicking on the arrows, we can see the language swapping between the different languages that we have set up. Again, it's important to remember that these aren't automatically being translated. They're all coming from an Excel sheet and grabbing the corresponding string in the selected language. Quick Chat gives the users the ability to quickly choose between a set of preset phrases to eliminate the time of typing out each phrase. It will allow the users to send a message to other users as if they typed it out themselves. Since the speech bubble is a device-only feature, we'll need to make a QR code build to test this on our device. We do have a QR code build here, and we can see both of our clients showing up in our world. Since the Unity client cannot show text bubbles, we won't see them in the editor, but on device we can see the chat bubble showing up above the users' heads. As you explore the module importer, you may notice a lot of issues that come up and perhaps even features that you'd like added to the module importer. For those of you that want to make a report or suggest something, we've set up a reporting page that you can send us your feedback. To do this, navigate up to the Issues tab from the Module Importer GitHub repo, which will take you to the existing reports that have been made by other users for the importer. From there, you can click on New Issues, which brings us to the selection page for different reports that you can make. The first type is a bug report where you can let us know of bugs encountered with the module importer. Next is a feature request for non-module features. And finally, we have a new module request, which is an idea bank that would give us ideas on which module to add to the system next. Click Get Started to open a new ticket. If your request falls into none of these categories, feel free to open a blank issue. And that's everything you need to know about getting started with the module importer. This is a constantly changing tool and is open source for all of you guys as well. So if you have any great ideas, you can make your own contribution to the module importer tool, which will help our community out a lot. We'll release a video in the near future on exactly how this works. But thanks everyone, and happy coding.